Welcome to Financial Focus, brought to you by GulfCoast Financial Services founder and CEO, John Kuykendall. John and his team of financial, legal, and tax professionals have been providing North Florida savers and investors sound, comprehensive financial guidance for over 30 years, helping you to achieve important life and planning goals. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and tune in for more Financial Focus by visiting GulfCoastFinancial.net.
We have some important news to discuss here on Financial Focus, and as we always do, we turn to the founder of GulfCoast Financial Services, John Kuykendall, here to get us up to speed. Now, GulfCoast Financial Services has been named Best of the Best in Financial Services 8 straight years and running by the readers of the Lake City Reporter, and John, of course, celebrating more than 31 years helping proactive savers and investors, planners in North Central Florida to achieve their financial and retirement goals. But we have had a blow to some of those goals. Maybe it's something that we've seen coming. The Social Security Board of Trustees last week released its annual report on the financial status of the Social Security Trust Fund. And as has been discussed for quite some time, the trust funds are now projected to become depleted in 2034, 1 year earlier than the last projections, with what they say the ability to pay 80% of the promised benefits payable at that time. What do we need to make of this update to the status of the solvency of Social Security?
Well, Peter, the thing is if you're thinking about taking your benefits early, and at age 62, you take a 27% haircut. If you take it early, you're looking in 10 years, you're going to lose another 20% or 23%. So, you're looking at almost a 50% cut in your benefits over your lifetime. And that's a significant amount of money. I think what we have to realize is that this report's going to get worse, not better. The one reason that it says in this report that we have moved the projection forward is because of interest rates and inflation. Because the more we have to pay out, the more the cost of living or those benefits that we get for Social Security go up, the more we have to pay out. So that CPI index that we get when we're on the benefit, that creates a problem. And then also, the inflation, the amount of inflation is having a toll too. So I've said all along that we have to look forward to having some type of reform in Social Security. Now, politically, I'm not going to get into where I think that's right or not, and it's my money, and I paid into it all these years, and I deserve it. I just think that something has to be done in order to preserve it for those people who need it. And I think the number is still about 40% of retirees live on Social Security alone. And that's not a lot of money, Peter.
Yeah. And in the scope of news could get worse. In fact, John, the Old Age and Survivors Insurance and Disability Insurance Trust Fund projections for this year actually came in a year earlier and a little less. They said that it could become depleted by 2033, 1 year sooner than the trust fund expectations, and only be able to pay 77% of the benefits payable at that time. So bottom line, John, Social Security clearly in trouble here, and it needs to be addressed. But also, we probably need to consider this very seriously in our planning and do as much as we can possible to provide for our own lifetime financial security and stability.
Well, that's it. I mean, we're responsible for our own retirement. And so, that's why being in a 401k is so important, or being in some type of retirement plan. And if you don't have a 401k or a retirement plan at your work, you need to make sure that you're setting one up on the side, Peter, because we can still contribute to Roth IRAs and individual retirement accounts outside of the workplace. And if you're not doing that, you need to set it up. 401ks, though, and those type of plans through your employer are a great way to save because they're systematic, Peter. How many times have you had your car payment come out of your check directly from the bank or set up a payment. And after a while, you forget about it. And it's the same thing with that 401k contribution. Once you set it up, and you will learn to live on the amount of money you bring home. A very good friend of mine, a mentor of mine back when I was at the bank, I got a promotion from one bank to another bank, and they ended up giving me like $10,000 more. And I went to my boss and told him, I said, look, I got to take the job because they're doubling my salary. And I don't expect you to do that, but I just got to take this other job, and I'll be able to save money. I'll be able to take that $10,000 and put it aside. And he looked at me, Peter, and he said, John, let me explain something to you. Your level of spending is going to rise to your earnings. And so you won't save that money. And looking back on it, after a year or two, that money never got put in the bank. I mean, the house costs more, the car costs more, all those things did. But that money that was going into my retirement account, I never missed it. It was always there. It has a lot of advantages for doing that systematic payment.
So, John, we do have the ability to sort of spend up to our means, but what about the potential for income reductions in retirement? Do most people have the ability to live down to whatever that benefit from Social Security might be cut to, if you believe that that's the way it's going to be handled?
Well, the thing about it is, Peter, I've often thought that, and we used to teach that in retirement, taxes are going to be cheaper because you're going to need less money. The thing about it is today, in today's society, we need as much money or more than we did when we were working, because we have to keep up with inflation. And secondly, we're not a sedentary society. We're on the move. We're going out to eat. We're going to play golf. We're doing things. We want to live that lifestyle. In order to do that, it takes money to do it. I know my son said that he took just him and his wife and two of the kids out to eat this weekend at Cracker Barrel for breakfast, and it was $60. Well, now, that's $15 a piece, which seems like a lot. But if you think about it, back in the 80s, that was a lot in New York, but it isn't a lot today. So, everything is expensive. We're not going to be able to cut down that much our lifestyle without really affecting our retirement.
Well, John, income in retirement can be cut in a number of ways, because you spoke about the importance of saving in our 401ks and those retirement accounts. But after 2022, individuals saw significant cuts there as well because of the market risk and volatility. In fact, a study from Fidelity, or report released, said that there were over 299,000 401k accounts with over $1 million balance in 2023, but that was more than 1/3 less than there were in 2022. So we are looking at risks of less money and haircuts on either side. So what do we need to know about making the most out of that 401k?
Well, the one thing we want to do, Peter, is we certainly want to make sure that we get the match. That's free money. So if I'm putting in 4 and I'm getting 4, I'm getting 100% return on my money. So why wouldn't I do that? And every plan matches because the employers want the employees to sign up. In order to get the employees to sign up, they have to give them an incentive. And so that match is their way of giving them an incentive. And certainly we should always take advantage of free money that the company's giving us because they want us to participate in the plan. So the other thing too is, don't forget, we're dollar cost averaging into this. So we're buying in different segments of the market. And the longer we stay in the plan, the more chance we have over time to dollar cost average through these downturns. One of the problems I think is that we've talked on this show about, the mentality with 401k holders and a lot of what I want to call, nonprofit deferred comp plans, is that people feel like it's free money. It's not free money. It's your money. You just put it aside. And so when I tell you that I got my statement and I threw it in my drawer and I didn't look at it because I didn't want to know how bad it was. You're really not telling me anything, but you're not helping yourself. What you're doing is you're not reallocating in a down market. So you may have the most aggressive funds in your portfolio, but if you don't reallocate, Peter, then in a down market, all you're going to do is go down. If you go down 30%, you don't get back up when you make 30. You've got to make a lot more than that because 30 doesn't get you back to where you were. So I think people need to be more cognizant of their statements. I think there's a lot of lackadaisicalness about me taking charge of my 401.
Well, I know the automatic and systematic nature of the 401ks and the investment options within the 401ks have provided us benefits. But bottom line, John, you've talked many times on this program about how the 401k or other like employer-sponsored retirement plans, there are a few different names there, about how they are very beneficial during our working, during our paycheck, during our accumulation years, but how they are often not the correct tool for us when we are in the preservation or income-producing distribution years.
Well, that's right, Peter. And that's one of the reasons that we need to, if we don't have a Roth option, and one of the things people think that the company won't match on a Roth, they will. So if you don't have a Roth option, you need to get your company to include one, and you need to start making contributions to the Roth so that money will be set aside and grow tax-free. If we have this downturn in the amount of money that we're paid out in Social Security benefits, that means we're going to have to draw more money out of our retirement accounts in order to make up that shortfall. Also, like I've said on the show many times, I really believe that Social Security eventually is going to be indexed for income. The more you make, the less you're going to get. And so we need to be able to have different buckets to go to draw money out tax-free to help offset that money we're taking out that we've got to pay taxes on so that we can control our taxes in retirement. Taxes are going to go up. 2025, we sunset. We know that taxes are going to go up after that, Peter.
John, what are some of the options and opportunities to better control and position our retirement dollars as we are moving from that paycheck earning accumulation phase of our life, those years, into more of the preservation or retirement income and distribution years to better help control the risks and the taxes that are involved with those dollars and that income?
Well, a lot of plans will have where you can take the money out after you reach 59 and a half. Some are 50. It just depends on the plan. And so we can do that. What we can do is take that money out and diversify it into other things so that it's not in the market, or if it is in the market, we're controlling it and watching it more closely. And we have more investment options than we have in the 401. When we changed the laws a couple of years ago, we made the companies more responsible to be fiduciaries for the employees. And so because of that, a lot of companies set up these target date funds, Peter. And target date funds are just funds that say, if I'm going to retire in next year, I'm going to have a lot more bonds in my portfolio. I'm going to have stocks. If we look at a year like 22, when bonds were off 20%, that might not have been the best kind of portfolio to be in for preservation. So we need to look at options where we can get our hands on our money, be more proactive in managing it. And certainly everyone has that option where we can take that money out and put it into a retirement account. The other thing we should do is look at Roth conversions. The sooner we can do Roth conversions prior to 65, the better we're going to be, because we're not impacting our Social Security taxes or our Medicare IRMA, that thing that they charge us additional for our income, our Part B. So there are a lot of things we need to do, but we need to be proactive before we get to be 65, before we retire.
Well, I'm kind of mind blown looking at this report from Fidelity that more than a third of the 401k millionaires lost that prestigious status. And I think that is due to the factors that you have talked about here, John. Market risk, maybe not fully understanding the investments that we hold within the 401ks. We really do need to take more time and a good hard look at being informed, and staying in tune with those 401k accounts, which means so much to so many retirees.
Well, in this day and age where the market's moving so fast, and media, social media, and other media is 24 hours and constantly at you. Our market conditions change in the second, and so we need to be proactive and look at what's happening, monitor our portfolios, and make changes to them as we need to. Now, I'm not saying we try to time the market. And, a lot of employers got upset because back in the days of the early 2000s, employees were making changes to their 401ks 2 or 3 times a day. They weren't really working. They were monitoring their 401. But we have to monitor it more often than quarterly. Certainly, we need to monitor it more often than monthly.
John, are those options available there at Gulf Coast Financial Services, something that you can help savers and investors and maybe pre-retirees, those wanting to make sure that they are making the most during the transition to retirement out of the options they have available?
Sure, Peter, we do that every day. That's one of the services that we offer here. We actually have several companies that can go in and actually take over the 401k without causing a taxable event and without leaving the company, and let us put it into their portfolios and monitor it that way. We do a lot of the where we look at the employee and bring the money out, part of it, so that we can put it into different things, life insurance, annuities, other things. There's a lot of ways that we can monitor it, a lot of ways that we can be proactive. And certainly the biggest step is taking that step forward and saying, I need some help with this. What can we do with this?
Well, if we are still trying to make progress toward that ideal, secure, stable, confident retirement, John, while the news about Social Security definitely is not rosy and optimistic, on the other side of that, doing the most for ourselves, there is some good news in that contribution limits for those employer-sponsored plans and retirement plans across the board continue to increase.
Well, that's right, Peter. And, the thing we got to remember, too, is Medicare is in the same situation. So Medicare is going to run out of money about the same time. So for retirees and for also workers, we're gonna see taxes have to go up. Somehow this thing has to be fixed. Somehow there have to be changes to it. It's going to affect those of us who have saved and are living a comfortable lifestyle in retirement, but not a great lifestyle, but certainly struggling with inflation. We're going to be struggling even more with higher taxes in the immediate future.
Well, while Social Security was theoretically considered a pretty stable, reliable source of retirement income, again, this most recent report, not that optimistic. And John, as we all should know and realize and take into account, the 401k certainly is not a dependable source for retirement income moving into and through retirement. There are steps we need to take for a myriad of factors.
Oh, yeah. Peter, we need to look at everything we can do to set up our retirement, not just through the 401k, but also through life insurance. We need to look at long-term care insurance. If you're 65 and married, 70% chance one of you are going to need long-term care. Medicare doesn't pay for long-term care. It never will. And Medicaid won't pay for it if you have assets. So there's a lot of things that we need to take into our own hands. I mean, retirement is your responsibility. It's nobody else's. It will never be the government's. They can't afford for all of us to retire and live the lifestyle we're living.
Can't leave your retirement subject to market volatility, subject to changes in tax rates and laws, subject to inflation. You've got to have, John, that financially focused written retirement income plan in place. The valuable offer that you make there at Gulf Coast Financial Services is to help individuals get that plan in place to address those factors.
That's right, Peter. One of the things about our Social Security software is we can take a look at this downturn and show you what happens if they cut our benefit to 80% or 77% and how much money you're going to have and what that's going to affect you over your lifestyle. You'll be surprised at how much money that's going to mean. But the one thing we got to remember, Peter, is retirees don't want to downsize. They are living a great life. They are living an active life. They're not like our parents. The people retiring now are still very active and spending a lot of money. If they want to continue that, we have to do that financially focused income plan to take into consideration taxes, all the things that we look at, and inflation, and make sure that it's covered. And, I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but Florida, we're not at the $15 minimum wage yet. We're at $11 minimum wage, rising to $15. We're already complaining about inflation. It's going to only get worse. I read this morning where one of the banks is laying off 20% of their staff, a large bank. Those are things that are going to happen constantly. So if you think that your retirement's fixed, you're going to be able to work for that company till retirement, and you're going to be able to build that kind of retirement you want, you better plan for it now, because you may not have that job later.
Well, at Gulf Coast Financial Services, John and his team help savers and investors better determine their outcome. Specifically, if you would like to get that plan in place that will teach you how to retire, how much you will need, how much income your savings can generate. If you want to learn how to pay less in taxes, control that, keep more of your money, then give them a call. 386-755-9018, 386-755-9018. Request that financially focused written retirement income plan, or you can visit online, GulfCoastFinancial.net, GulfCoastFinancial.net. John and his team serving North Central Florida savers and investors, and looking forward to helping in any way they can. So pick up the phone, give a call, visit online, GulfCoastFinancial.net, 386-755-9018, and request your own specific financially focused written retirement income plan, the strategy session and review of your retirement plan. John, always a pleasure. Thank you for bringing us up to speed, an important update that we will certainly keep a pulse on as things continue to develop with Social Security, and then a discussion of what we need to do to potentially make up for the difference.
Well, the one thing about it is, Peter, we'll stay on top of it, and we'll have the latest news, and we'll try to work with all of our clients to make it better. Thank you for this week.
Always important to take advantage of, to know, understand, and optimize the tools that you have available, ladies and gentlemen, for your own future benefit and financial security. John and his team helping savers and investors identify the strategies, tools, and options that can help you achieve your financial goals. Give them a call, 386-755-9018. Request that financially focused written retirement income plan. We'll look forward to talking with you next time.
Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and tune in for more financial focus by visiting GulfCoastFinancial.net. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only, without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for a particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature and not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs. Early withdrawals may subject the owner to penalties, fees, or taxes. John Kuykendall is registered with, and securities are offered through Kovacs Securities Inc., member FINRA SIPC, found online at www.kovacsecurities.com. Advisory services are offered through Gulf Coast Financial Services Inc., a registered investment advisor in Florida. Gulf Coast Financial Services Inc. is not affiliated with with Kovac Securities Inc. or Kovac Advisors Inc. Past performance is not indicative of future results. All investing involves risk. Investment decisions should be based on your own goals, time horizon, and tolerance for risk. Due to various factors including changing market conditions and/or applicable laws, the content may no longer be reflective of current opinions or positions.